Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Desus and Mero, hosts of the late night show Desus and Mero on Showtime. What's up, guys?
How's it going,
It's
man?
eponymous.
Eponymous. You know what? I had that written down. I was like, it's too much. It's going to get tied up in my mouth. I'm barely getting out the words as it is. But no,
it's right there.
So this is season 4 of the show. You guys have done, I think, at least 175 episodes maybe that have aired. What for you guys now? What is the biggest challenge as hosts of this show compared to like from when you started? I guess. What do you still have stuff that you're like, oh man, this is like a challenge or a lot of work?
I don't think there's any challenge to it. I think this is gonna sound stupid, but I think the biggest challenge is like we get into a groove when we're recording, and then they're just like, all right, we're done, and we really look at each other like, yo, we were just getting started. Like, are you serious? There's times where, because like we do record on different stories. And we'll, like, by the time, we get warmed up, we get rolled in, and then, like, we're, like, cracking up on, like, story 5, and then there's no story 6, because we went so long with story 2 and story 3. So I think the biggest challenge now is just, like, having too much fun. And that sounds weird for us to say, but, like, you'll see it with the guests. At the end of the interviews, the guests are like, are y'all serious? Y'all done? They want to continue doing it. So, like, that's our biggest challenge. Like, we've never had any issue making the show. It's always been, like, natural for us. So now we're in such a good groove that we're just killing it and just having a good time doing that.
Yeah, that's the hardest part is literally like is trimming the fat on a very lean steak. You know what I mean? Like it's all just raw red, delicious.
Black and blue, 5 seconds on each side. You know the vibe.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. No fat in that. And the fat that is in there, it's marbled. It's delicious.
It's a quality steak, bro.
Well, you did. I mean, so this season now you guys are only doing 1 episode a week. You'd previously done 2. So how challenging is that then to actually then have to even cull it down more and like creatively? How has that been tough then to not have the extra episode a week to do?
You know what? To use a lewd metaphor, think about what I'm saying. If you're pleasuring someone twice in one night versus once in the night, you're gonna give a little more when you're just going once. So basically, having it 1 night a week gives us more time to concentrate our resources to make the best show possible. We have more time for sketches. We can travel to interview people, and that frees up our interview schedule for more guests who don't have to like fly in after Monday or Tuesday because we have the Sunday show. And if you look at it now, the show is better than previous iterations of the show, because we have had previous iterations at the CBS Broadcast Center season 1. That we, for the COVID, we have the lockdown, we have the at-home versions. And now we are in that groove right now where even though it's 1 night a week, that show is stronger than anything we've done before. So that's what you see in season 4. And it wasn't like people took it the wrong way and were just like, oh, your show is going to get canceled because you're only 1 night a week. Meanwhile, Showtime was like, no, we love this show. We believe in this show. We just want you to make the best show possible. And that's what we're doing. We hired new people. We're focusing on it. And you can see it. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. You see the guests are better. The shows are better. Even the sketches are funnier. So, 1 night a week is actually easier to do than 2 nights a week, which is much easier to do than 4 nights a week, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. And also it just gives like the digital team, which is also like a super important part of like the big picture, it gives them a lot of room and more resources now. Since it's 1 night a week, they get a lot more resources. They got a lot more time from us. You know what I mean? And, you can see we've done 2 happy hours so far and they've been great. You know what I mean? Good. So, and then you get that like very kind of like conversational feel that people get from our interviews, but it's just like in a group setting. So, it's a little something different. It's a different look too from like the studio shot stuff and the field stuff. So it's just like, going once a week gives you the opportunity to explore these different avenues and like give people different looks, different jokes, different everything. You know what I mean? So it's just like, a little taster's choice, like a little taster's menu of delicious Bronx comedy.
We're doing a lot of food metaphors. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but also it helps us, not be burned out, because that was a problem we had in the previous season. Like, he's like, oh, Desus and Mero, you guys are 2 nights a week. Us being 2 nights a week means our staff is working 7 days a week because they have to prepare all the time. And our staff is getting burned out, then add COVID and all that stuff. Like, this is more fair to our staff and just helps us have a better environment and the work, like on set and everything. So, shout out to our staff. They're one of the hardest working staff in TV because they have to deal with our asses. And like, listen, but we make the best thing possible, and like, we just love the show. We love our staff, and like, shout out to season 4. We're killing it.
So you are killing it. You mentioned the interviews before. Obviously, they're so good, and I think they're like, you can watch them all this season. You've done a ton. I wanted to ask you about Denzel, which I know you've talked about before, but before I get that, like, you guys are like local New York guys. Like, who were you guys inspired by coming in on your interview style? Like, was there like, did you listen to like talk radio or like anything like that? Like, what was your like initial like, oh shit, this is a good style to not replicate, but like be inspired by, I guess.
Are you
Mike
is this guy
Francesa.
kidding us? Is this guy kidding us? He doesn't know the Pope.
Yeah.
I know the Pope. I know the Pope, of course.
Mike Francesa. All right.
Mom, give me another Diet Coke.
Hey, first time, long time. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Mike, I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Go.
Hey,
call
Mike,
me when you get back from Mars.
Hey, Mike, I was watching that show, Desus and Mero. What do you think about those guys? They're from the Bronx. I know you went to Florida, or you passed by it. What? I hang up and listen. First time, long time.
I mean, it's a good. The guys are good guys. They're a little lazy. If you ask me, the guys don't run hard. They don't play too hard, but they're good guys. They got a good heart. They got big hearts. Those guys. They're two nice little urchins from the Bronx, and I like them. I love them for that.
No, for all the jokes and everything we do. Shout out to Mike Francesa. We had him on our show on the previous network.
Yes.
He basically was just like, keep being who you are, and they're going to respect you for that. Because we've been in boardrooms and we've been in situations where people have literally said, you guys are too New York. People in Iowa will not listen. And we were just like, who cares about Iowa? No one has cared about Iowa except for the primaries. So, what I'm saying? Like, he told us, because like, listen, you hear Mike Francesa's accent. You hear Mike Francesa.
Come on.
That's a very unique voice, but that's a New York thing. And that's what we have. And, just to have him, he embraced us in that interview. He was just like, yo, just keep doing you. Just keep, just your conversational style, the way you talk to people. Like, he gave it, that was like, we joke about him. We make like weird comments about him in sketches. But what he's done, and just seeing what he's done on WFAN, interviews, and all that stuff, he's built a legacy for himself. And that's what we want to do. So, to get any kind, like, he's the GOAT to us. So to just get any kind of embrace or get any advice from him just goes a long way. And that's what we try to do. We just want to make the conversation free-flowing. We don't want it to feel like an infomercial, but at the same time, we want to get the person we're interviewing to talk about something they probably haven't talked about in another interview.
Right. I grew up listening to Mike and Mad Dog, certainly. I'm like totally in on that.
You get it. He's listening to 5 hours. Just 5 hours. And the last hour, he has no idea what he's talking about. He's just talking about soccer. He doesn't know.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You mentioned that like
Ichiro is not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
What's that?
Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
What about
the Japanese hits? I don't know if they count.
What about Brandon Ing? Should we get Ing up in here? Remember that one?
Brandon Ing?
Don't give me Oh.
Hey, Mike, you think the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants go out to dinner?
As a Mets fan, I know you love every time the Mets have like a ninth inning meltdown, and when Mike Francesa, he doesn't even start the show. It's just he just listens to the 20 minutes. He's just like, I'm like, so we gonna talk about the Yankees or
he's like, no, this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. Familia again. You blow a save again. Alonso hits a 3-run shot in the bottom of the ninth. The game has a freaking bow on it.
He should be ashamed of himself. Look at this. Bobby Bonilla.
Who's your mother?
This team.
This is before we can do this all day, but I want to ask you about the interviews because you mentioned them and getting people to talk about stuff they haven't talked about. With the Denzel Washington one, that was from I think the first episode of season 4. Yep. Denzel seems super intimidating as someone who like interviews people. I would be like super nervous about that, I guess. And you got him so immediately, like with like talking about like his background and his upbringing and like local stuff that he was totally in on. And you mentioned like the Iowa thing, even though someone from New York, where I was like, I know the White Castle at Fordham because I went to Fordham, right? And I'm like, I know the Ram fan. Like, you were talking about too in that interview and all those different things. I was like, it's so relatable just watching you guys talk to him. And I've never seen Denzel Washington like seem like a regular dude, right? You know what I mean? Like he's so above, like he's so higher. Like it's like I think these you made like I said, it's like talking like LeBron James about basketball, basically. How much prep are you doing before that interview? And like, what is that? None. You just are like, we're going in and talking.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Because like as you said, it's just like if you were talking to Denzel, you'd be intimidated. We're not. We've been in jail before. We've been places. So we meet people that other people completely lose it talking to, and we're just like, hey, you used to be president, Obama. How's that? You know what I mean? And it's not bragging or anything. It's just like we never become like, oh my God, celebrity. We're on the same level as these people, and that comes through in the conversation. We're never gonna be like, so, oh my God, this is so great, Denzel. I was like, okay, Denzel, you're in Hollywood. We're in Hollywood. We're basically coworkers. Let's have a discussion. So that's kind of the energy, and I think the people respect that. Because when you come kissing a person's ass during an interview, the people realize it, and you hear the canned responses, and they're just trying to get through the interview. And we're having a natural conversation. Like we're asking questions we earnestly want the answer for real questions that these people haven't been asked in years. And it's a delight for Denzel to talk about Mount Vernon, because Denzel has just talked about Hollywood and Training Day and Hollywood things for so long. So you see, it's like a relief for them. They're like, yo, these guys are like talking to the real version of me, not the Hollywood version of me. And that comes through an interview. And I think that's what makes our interviews better than other people's interviews.
Yeah, man. It's like that, like the humanizing part. Like, it's just like, yo, you're famous for this thing. Fuck that thing. Let's talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like when you get that one anecdotal story that's just like pulling, like, you know what I mean? Like the one brick out of a thing, and then everything just comes flowing.
Everything comes out. I mean? Like, remember stuff.
Yeah.
There's
once Pepinos came up, it was a wrap.
The pizza place on 244th. It's like there's been interviews where literally on camera you see the people say, "Oh my God, I haven't thought about that in 10 years." And you can see after that, their mind is not on that interview. They're going back to 10 years before all of this. They're thinking, like, you have sometimes in interviews, people are really realizing what they've accomplished, because we're like, yo, you did this, you did that. And a lot of people don't do that. People are like, oh, your movie comes out next week, talk about the movie.
Right.
We're like, yo, we remember this movie you did in 1995. And they're like, yo, how do you know about that? That's like how we know about you. And they're just like, yo, I remember what I was doing in 95. I remember how broke I was. That was like my first film. I didn't want to take it. And you get these stories that you're not going to get in any other interview. And it's just like, it changes your perception of these people. Like, you're just like, Denzel is stoic. Denzel is Training Day. Now we know Denzel is just a guy from Mount Vernon. Just a regular guy from Mount Vernon that put in the acting. And also, do not mess with him. He will hurt you. Okay?
Right.
Oh, yeah. That was the truth.
What's your favorite Denzel? What's your favorite Denzel movie?
Favorite Denzel movie? What is it? The one in the bank where he's Inside Man. Yeah. No. What am I saying? Excuse me. I'm sorry. I take that back.
Go ahead.
The movie where he has the plane upside down because he's on cocaine.
Flight.
Here we go. Flight. Let's go. That's a good one. That is a good movie.
I could go on and on and on. I mean, obviously, to me, the obvious one is Training Day, because, like, you know what I mean? Like, that is so many quotables. And, like, even in the interview, I'm like, I can recite that scene line for line. But just the fact that Denzel was just like, go ahead. Like I'm feeding you. I'm like, Like, I wasn't nervous because it was Denzel. I was just like, damn, like, bro, like, you're going through Training Day lines with Denzel Washington. This is a moment. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to tell your kids about this. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be like, who the I don't care.
Who's Denzel?
Put my brain interface back on. I want to play Fortnite again.
Who do you guys think of as a late night? Do you guys think of it? Are you competing with the other late night shows? Are you like, we want to be better than the other late night shows, or is that not even on your mindset because the landscape is so diffuse now, and like people are watching different things at different times? It doesn't matter. Like, what is your idea on that?
You know, the thing is, like, it's not like some gang thing where it's like yo, Stephen Colbert, we coming for you. Like, no, like, everyone is like super nice, and it's like a brotherhood, or even a sisterhood, because, you know, like, shout out to all the, you know, like Ruffin and everybody, but everyone like reaches out, and like it's kind of like you have each other's back, so no one is ever like trying, like, even, you know, if you don't win an award, those people text you like, yo, I won, but you should have won, like little things like that. Because we're all kind of working towards the same goal, which isn't necessarily to win awards, it's to make people laugh. So it's just kind of just like, yo, like, I'm never watching Trevor Noah like, okay, he stumbled on that joke, so if I drop a 4 on that and pass the barrel, we're gonna maximum applause right there. Like, there's never anything like that. It's like, nah, it's just all fun, and when we see each other, it's always like fun to link up, because also as late night hosts, we deal with stuff other people don't necessarily deal with in Hollywood. There's very unique challenges to being a late night host. So to meet someone else that's going through the same thing, you can kind of like kind of like link up on those things and just kind of like talk to each other about how you deal with this, how you deal with the schedule, how you deal with just like waking up at the weird hours. You know, those are not our enemies; those are our homies.
Right.
Yeah, and also it's just like we're playing like kind of like a different game. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, and that's not in a derisive way either. It's just like, you know, we do what we do, and it's not traditional late night. Like we've said it like from the beginning. The only thing that makes this a late night show is that we're on late at night. You know what I mean? Like if the show was on at noon, there would be a lot more bleeps, but you know what I mean? Like it would still be the same show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the interviews alone, I think separate you guys because you just have so much more space, like you said, to talk to these people and like get like so much more out of them. And it's a different format, obviously, than like something not to knock like a Colbert or any of these other guys. Like, they just don't have that same amount of time to do the interviews. So it's like totally different. What do you guys hope? Like season 5, season 6, like where you want to grow the show, I guess.
Oh, just bigger and badder, just like making like more epic sketches and just like. Yeah. Just really blowing it out the frame, because like I think you can kind of see in this season, like given a little more time and more resources, we're doing funnier sketches. So like by season 6, we could do like a full length movie in a sketch and just have people like, yo, why don't they have a full length movie? Something like that. Or just, you know, just keep people laughing, just keep the brand authentic and just keep it true to our voice. So that's what's more important than just, you know, just getting more guests and everything. But you know, we're still getting big guests. We want to interview Blue Ivy, Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter. That'd be fun. You know, just Joe Biden's dog, the one that bit the Secret Service agent. Find out about that. Just little things like that. You know, just more or less
do deep dive into that. You know, get Rihanna and Rocky's baby as a correspondent. You know what I mean? In the upcoming seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got time.
You know,
that baby just got born. You got plenty of time.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? That baby's half West Indian. It needs to be working by 6 months. Okay, that's what my father said.
We're like deer. You know, when deer are born, they're like walking and running within 2 minutes. That's how it is when you're a West Indian child.
That baby was born with working papers.
Desus and Mero, host of the eponymous show on Showtime. I did it there.
You got it, baby.
There you go.
Thank you guys, and I'm gonna do a Francesa here back after this. But no, have a good one.
Hey, WFA, yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
So good, man.
Thank you.